Hi to everyone and welcome to Bravo 22 Live, made possible by the Royal British Legion and the Drive Project. Before we start, I need to give a huge shout out to Captain Tom Moore, a 10-year-old veteran who, sorry, a 100-year-old veteran who has raised over 12 million for the NHS walking around his garden. And I believe that was with his frame as well. And he finishes his walk today. So absolutely fantastic. And it's a huge round of applause for him. So I'm Sallyanne. Some of you will have already met me, some of you not. However, I hope that changes soon. Just want to give you again another huge big welcome, and it's really great to be here with you today. So I've been a member of Bravo 22 for quite some time now, having found my way here as a military wife. I've never looked back since, having completed many workshops, both in art and theatre. One of my favourites was in Southport, mastering figurative drawings, whilst others have included printmaking, painting in acrylics, puppet making, shadow show productions, to mention just some of them. And of course, so much other great stuff goes on here too. Sculpture making, stage productions, storytelling, much more. It's a truly fantastic organisation, and I would encourage you all to tell your military friends and their families to become involved with us and join in. Bravo 22 Live, our new online programme, is all about creativity, about using the arts to keep your mind active. It's about learning new things and having a really good time. It's about reconnecting, making new friends, reconnecting with old friends, and just really enjoying yourselves. So please, I'm asking, spread the word. Encourage all your friends and family to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like us, share us on Facebook, and click those likes. Subscribe to the channel. Personally, I've never looked back. Best thing I ever did was pluck up the courage to apply. And here I am now. I'm extremely delighted to be able to present to you for Bravo 22 Live. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Al Johnson, who some of you will already know. Al is a sculptor, a lecturer, and a director of art for Bravo 22. She's going to get us all drawing. So go grab your paper and your pencils and have them ready. We'll be looking at perfect proportions and how to achieve them when drawing figures. Over to you, Al.
Thank you, Sallyanne. That's lovely introduction. Yeah, we're going to be looking at drawing in proportion. Now, drawing is hard, isn't it? You know, it's a tricky thing to do, and drawing people is super hard because it's so difficult to kind of figure out these shapes and forms. So we're going to look at we're going to make a diagram really about proportion. I think we can begin with a very famous artist, Leonardo Davinci, because he made this wonderful drawing, which is on your screen now, of the Vitruvian Man, where he is looking at proportions. And he's written a great deal of information at the bottom of that image, which tells us all about different proportions. And he says that the length of the outspread arms is equal to the height of a man. You can try this, you can measure your arms and see if that's true. I don't think it will be quite true. And he also says that from below the chin, so from here to the top of your head, is about 1/8 of the height of a man. Now, a bit of artistic license going. I mean, who you know, artistic license is applicable to Leonardo, but I think really it's about 7 to 7.5 lengths. And we've got a diagram from a very old drawing book of a rather wonderful series of proportion drawings that's be on your screen now. And the first one, the man with the handlebar moustache, is the one that's the most accurate. He looks the stockiest and the shortest, but he's the most accurately drawn, actually. The second one is a 1 to 8. So this is 8 heads in the body. The third one is a kind of fashion model, 8.5 heads. He's longer and thinner. And the last one is a sort of heroic figure, like a a heroic statue, a sculpture. But really, we look like the first one. We're shorter, we're sort of shorter and dumpier than we imagine ourselves to be. Now I'm going to ask Sallyanne to test this theory for me. So we're going to go back to her in just a moment. What I want you to do is get hold of a piece of paper, Sallyanne, and measure the length of your head. So if you hold up a piece of paper and you measure from the top of your head down to your chin, not sort of curving it around, just doing it straight, and then make a marker on that. So Sallyanne, can you try this out? See how many heads in your body.
So, top of my head, you all see me okay? Bottom of my chin, top of my head, bottom of the chin.
Yeah.
Up there. Okay.
Probably a slightly, yeah. So, right, so from your chin, measure, next one is from your chin.
Yeah, so then from my chin down, that's 2. Yeah. And then we're going to go down again. I'm going to go that way. 3, 4, 5. You probably can't see these. 6, 7. I've got 7.
7. Well done. I'm glad you said that. Imagine if you'd said 5. So embarrassing. Or maybe embarrassing for you.
So that was a 6 and chart.
Thank you. So we have got Sallyanne is 7 heads of the body. So I think we can assume that that's we're taking you as being our model individual. So to start your diagram, so we're thinking in terms of the 7 heads of the body. Start your diagram. So you pick up a sheet of paper. I'm using copy paper here, which is quite thin. I'm just going to put the screen down so you can see. And we're going to fold it in half, lengthwise, like that. And then draw a line down the middle. Okay, so on the a line on the fold. And then I want you to draw a little oval at the top. And coming up on your screen now is the first drawing, which is that line, horizontal, diagonal. It's not horizontal or diagonal. It's a vertical line. Sorry, with the lollipop head at the top. Now that's the beginning of your drawing, and it does look like a lollipop. It does look like the head is too small, but we know Sallyanne's head fits into her body 7 times, so let's assume that that's correct. So what you need to do is to measure the length of the head. So you can do it with finger and thumb like this. Measure the length of the head, and then make 7 marks on your drawing. So you'll have 7 sections, and then do a half, because most people are between 7 and 7.5 heads in length. So you'll have the head and then 6 more sections and then a half section. And at the bottom, you can do a wider line for the feet. So you've got the head and the feet. Now, as I said, this is a diagram. It's not a drawing, because a drawing is more creative, more sort of intuitive and relaxed. This is really a diagram to give you a sense of how proportions work. Okay, now I'm going to ask, I'm going to go back to Sallyanne. So Sallyanne is not just a presenter and assistant, but she's also a gymnast today. Sallyanne, can you tell us where you bend in the middle? I want to see where the sort of center line of the body is. So if you kind of, if you turn sideways and keep your back straight and your legs straight, and then see whereabouts your sort of bend line is in the body.
So it feels like top of the thigh, hip area.
Okay.
Coccyx, definitely by the coccyx.
Fantastic. So that's the start of your leg. So actually we bend halfway up the body, and the half of the body is legs, half is the upper part of the body. So what you can do with your drawing now is to I'll come back down again. So that's the drawing so far. You can, if you fold your paper so that your feet touch your head, so you've got the foot line and the headline, if you can do that, so the feet touch the head, make a fold across, and then mark that in. That's drawing number 2 coming up on your screen now. And that's the pelvic line. So that's the fold line of your body. If you could fold yourself in half, your head would actually touch the floor. So you're exactly in half at that point. I'm saying that all these things are generalizations. So some people have got shorter legs than others. Some people have got a short upper body or long upper body. So it varies a bit. But it's just to kind of to give you a sense of how proportions work. So you can also mark on your diagram. So this is the 3rd drawing. You can mark the waist, and the waist comes at the 3rd section. So you've got your head section, 1, 2, and then the line of the waist. So on that 3rd drawing, you can see waist, pelvis, and knees. Now, knees are halfway up the legs. I know we feel like the upper part of the thigh is longer than the lower part of the leg. I'm going to ask Sallyanne again. This is very, very good for people that are staying in a lot, isn't it? All this exercise.
And I want the exercise.
Yeah, none of us are getting much exercise. So what I want you to do is to stand on one leg and turn sideways again to us. Stand on one leg. And then I want you to bend the other knee, obviously not the one you're standing on, bend your other leg and see how far your foot comes when you bend your knee. Where does it get to?
I'm falling over. So I must be practicing this because it can almost touch my bum, but not quite.
Very good.
If I pull up on the socks, probably I'd get it there, but yeah, back of the thigh.
So back of the thigh. So that suggests that the knee is in the middle of your leg, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you can bend your leg in half in that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you. So you can fold your paper from the foot to the pelvic line and mark in the knees. Now I'll do that in just a moment. First of all, though, have we got any questions coming up?
Yes, Al, we do. We have a huge shout out to Baz, Sarah, Matt, Mick and Dean. They're all watching. And I've got a question. If Al is drawing a figure, does she always use the system, or is she so used to it she can draw without the lines?
Well, I don't really need the lines anymore, but I've done so much life drawing, and I've taught life drawing for a long time, so I don't use it in that same way. But I do bear in mind I have these things in my head, I think, now, so I don't need to do the diagram and kind of compare it anymore. But I do kind of bear in mind, is the size of the head in relation to the body correct? Is the shoulder width correct? That sort of thing. So I do think about that, and I very often start drawing. If I'm drawing a figure, I start not with the head, but with the shoulder, because the shoulder line gives you a position of the body. So if you've got a standing figure, so if you're standing but you're slumped, your shoulder line is at an angle. So if you draw that shoulder line first, you get a lot of the position of the body sorted before. The head is really, it is, of course, it's enormously relevant, but it's not all that relevant to the figure. It's to the position of the figure. The head can come later. So I very often do a shoulder line first. Fantastic,
great advice. So Al, I've got one more question. What is it that you love to draw?
Well, I love figure drawing. I've done a lot of life drawing. I really, really like life drawing. I like drawing anything, really. The drawing I do the most is planning drawing for sculpture. So when I'm making a piece of work, I do a lot of planning, and a lot of it is kind of fixings, like how things will be screwed together, or how, you know, timber might be jointed, that sort of thing. So I do a lot of that kind of drawing, sort of technical drawing, I suppose it is really. Lovely, thank you. Let's go back to our drawings now. Where were we? We're looking at the upper leg and the lower leg. Let's go on to drawing 4, where you can put in the shoulder line, which I've just been referring to. And the shoulders should be about 2 head lengths wide. So if you measure the head length with finger and thumb, you can turn it sideways and get 2 lines, one either side of your center line. And then you can put in a little bit of neck and slope the shoulders. You can also draw from the shoulder edge a line, 2 lines straight down, to give you a kind of box. And the box contains all the body, so that when you start to kind of position the body within that shape, you'll start to see how it all works. It all kind of squeezes in into that form. Now the last drawing, oh, did I show you about the knees? Sorry, I didn't show you about the knees. Sallyanne demonstrated beautifully how the knees are central. If you fold up your feet to your pelvic line and then fold again, you get a knee line. I'm just going to show you that on here. So we fold up from feet to the pelvis and then draw in the knee line there. So on your drawing 5, we've got actually all the lines we need. We've got the shoulder line at the top. You can mark those if you want to. You've got the waistline. That's also the elbow line. Remember, we've been thinking about arm length, or we'll come on to that in a moment. We've got the hip line or the pelvic line, the knee line, and the feet. So all those cross lines will give you everything, all the structure you need to make the drawing. Sallyanne, I'm going to ask you to be a chicken now.
Okay, great.
One of the things people do very often, as well as assuming that the upper leg is longer than the lower leg, is to assume that the arms are very short. I want to try and prove that arms are actually rather long. We are descended from apes, remember, so we do have quite long arms. If you can, she's limbering up there, can you see? It's brilliant. If you can put your elbows, bend your arms, put your elbows right into the body, and then feel where they are. You can try this at home, actually. Feel where your elbows fit into your body. You look like I
feel like I should be singing right now.
Yes, you should. Yes, it's all a bit song and dance man going on. Jazz hands. We've got jazz hands. So where do your elbows go? Where do your elbows sit?
They're sort of sitting in my waist.
Yes. So the upper arm.
I've got a waist. Yay.
Yeah. Well, I know. Marvelous. Of course, you've got a waist. We've all got a waist somewhere. Mine is very well hidden. So elbows into your waist. Where do your hands come? If you put your hands down onto your thighs, whereabouts on your thighs do they come?
So below my thighs, sort of.
Yeah.
I'd sort of say that's the top of my leg. My fingertips would touch below my thighs. Yeah. Okay. My leg.
So quite long. The other thing you can do is to bend your arm and then bring your hand back. Where does your hand come to on your? So can you see that the upper arm and lower arm are about the same length, and then you've got the hand as well. So the hand extends over the shoulder. Fantastic. Thank you, Sallyanne. Any questions? Have we got anything?
Yes, I've got one. Matt asks, can you apply the same theory if you're seated?
You can, yes. Obviously, you've got to think about foreshortening. So foreshortening is where if something is coming in a drawing, if something is coming directly towards you, it appears to be much shorter. Sallyanne, sorry,
I'm just trying to seat it out.
I know you're just there waiting for me to ask, aren't you? Can you stretch out your arm sideways for us? Okay, so that arm, if you bring that arm around so that your fingertips are facing us, so swing it round. Can you see now that you can't actually see the arm? You can just see the ends of the fingers. If you swing it back again, brilliant. So the arm obviously hasn't actually got shorter, but our perception of the arm is less. So if you bring it back round, Sallyanne, so that's foreshortening. And when you're drawing, you would have to draw the ends of the fingertips, not the whole of the arm, because you can't actually see that in the drawing. So it's a 3D to a 2D kind of illusion. Fantastic. You can sit down now.
Thank you.
Do sit down.
Exercise is done for the day.
No, it's not over yet.
I have a question here. What is in Al's tins behind her?
Oh, well. So on that side, there's all tobacco tins that were my inheritance from my dad. Very interesting inheritance, I always think. And they're full of screws and nails and washers and things like that. And then all the syrup tins have got, drill bits and saw blades and that sort of thing. Saw blades, not sword blades. It all seems very well organised, doesn't it? But I can never actually find anything when I need anything. So, that's the nature of a studio. Any other questions?
Looks fantastic.
Any other questions?
I think that's all for now. We need to keep them coming in. Yeah. Okay.
So let's put up the last drawing. Drawing 5. We've put in the shoulders. We can now draw in from the underarm into the waist and back out to the hips, and we can draw in the legs. We can put in those marks for the knees. And the hands, as we've said, the elbow and the waist are at the same level, so you can mark the elbow and the waist together, and then put in the hands at the ends of that sort of those long arms. So if we go on to drawing 6, we're just going to have a look at joints, because proportion is very important in drawing. But the way the joints work is just as important. And for our Sallyanne, jumping up and down like a yo-yo, for our Sallyanne's last bit of gymnastics, I just want you to test out some joints. So joints, of course, can't move in all directions all the time, otherwise we would fall over. So if you demonstrate the shoulder joint, what can you do with your shoulder joint? So if you hold up your arm, so you can go sideways. Can you go forward? Okay, can you go up?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you go behind your back? So right round behind your back.
Only so far.
Okay. So that's the limitation of the shoulder joint. What about the elbow joint? What can you do with that?
Okay, so we can go
arm out. Yeah.
Bend.
So you can bend upwards. Can you bend downwards?
No, doesn't work.
Right. Okay. So you can bend up and you can bend back to certain. How far back can you bend your elbow?
Back this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's limited, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a limitation on that joint there. What about your knees? Can you?
My knees.
Show us the knee.
Okay.
What do you do with your knees? So that it can bend up. How far forward? So if you straighten your leg out, can you bend it up from the knee?
No.
Okay. So that's the limitation on the knee joint. So there are limitations. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to stand up. And those limitations are really almost as important in drawing as the what the joints can do, what the joints can't do. I can't quite often moan at students about banana arms, where there doesn't seem to be any joint in the arm. In fact, your arms are very straight bones, the top of your arm and the bottom of your arm, and it's the only bit that moves is that joint there, and the wrist joint. So if you draw an arm as a sort of bendy shape like a banana, it's not accurate. So you have to really be aware of all the joints. The really big series of joints that I'm not thinking about with this drawing is the spine, because that's 33 vertebrae. You've got a huge amount of flexibility in the spine, but because we're looking at proportions and how the body moves in terms of the major joints, we're not going to go into that. We're going to think about the spine if we're doing a bit more drawing and movement, which we will be doing. So thank you for watching. I hope it's been useful for you. If you haven't managed to do any drawing as we go along, this is going to be on YouTube, so you can go back over it and have a look and try out the drawing. Thank you very much, Sallyanne. You've been fantastic. Who knew she was a gymnast as well as everything else? She's marvelous. Your challenge for this week is to try out your joints, to try out the limitations as well as the flexibility of your joints. I know some people have got limited movement, but you know, try this out as far as you can. And what we're going to do is post the silliest photographs. So send in a photograph of yourself doing something very silly with your joints, not dangerous, but just silly, and we'll post those. So I'm going to do another drawing session where we use this diagram for making movement drawings later on in our series. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Sallyanne. You're fantastic. And I'll say goodbye for now. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Al. Thanks, everybody. I think you'll all agree that was an absolutely fantastic experience. Apologies if we didn't get to your questions. Post them on Facebook and I'm sure that Al will answer them for you. We do hope that you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to tell all your friends and family to subscribe and hit the like buttons. Hit those like buttons. Watch out for our updates on the Facebook page and send in your pictures. We love seeing them. We'll be back again on Tuesday.